Hi class, this is our last chapter, section in chapter 14. This is 14.5, other applications of redox reactions. So in this chapter, we've explored oxidation reduction reactions and how these reactions are used to produce batteries. In this final lesson, we're going to look at two other important applications of redox reactions, electroplating and fuel cells. Sorry, my phone's going off here. Electroplating is a technique that produces a thin layer of metal such as gold, silver, copper, or chromium on the outside, a surface of another material. For example, chrome motorcycle parts are typically composed of steel, which is protected and beautified by thin outer layers of copper, nickel, and chromium. Pennies are also produced by electroplating. Older pennies were made almost completely of copper, but because of the rising cost of copper, in 1983, the U.S. Mint began electroplating zinc pennies with a thin copper surface. Electroplating is actually very similar to an electrochemical cell. In an electrochemical cell, a redox reaction creates an electric current. In electroplating, the reverse occurs. An electric current drives a redox reaction to take place. This image illustrates the process of applying a nickel coating to an iron pipe. The pipe is immersed in an aqueous solution containing dissolved nickel ions. A nickel electrode is also immersed in the solution. The two electrodes, the pipe and the nickel, are then connected to a battery. The electrical potential energy of the battery drives a redox reaction to take place. The reduction takes place on the surface of the pipe. As nickel, excuse me, I lost my place here, the pipe. As nickel ions are reduced to elemental nickel, they adhere to the metal surface. On the other electrode, nickel atoms are oxidized to form nickel ions, which dissolve in the solution and replenish the supply. In the last few decades, fuel cells have emerged as an exciting new approach to storing and releasing energy. Fuel cells convert the potential energy of a combustion reaction directly into an electrical energy by separating the oxidation and reduction half reactions. The most common fuel cells involve the very exothermic reaction of hydrogen with oxygen. And you can see it goes from hydrogen gas in the presence of oxygen gas produces water as a liquid. A hydrogen fuel cell consists of two electrodes separated by a substance called a proton exchange membrane. This substance allows proton ions, hydrogen ions, to flow through it, but not electrons. At the anode, H2 undergoes an oxidation to H plus ions. At the cathode, oxygen is reduced, reacting with electrons and H plus ions to form water. Because the proton exchange membrane only allows H plus ions to travel through it, the electrons must travel through an external route in order for the reaction to take place. The result is an electric current. So let's take a look at some questions. What technique is used to coat a thin metal surface onto another metal? And the only thing that we talked about here is electroplating. Which of these converts the potential energy from a combustion reaction directly into electrical energy? And that's fuel cells.